Hello everybody, today is another update on the elevator, this epic process of getting this antique 1919 elevator working. But this video is a little bit different. There is a giant twist ending. And I know a lot of YouTubers say watch till the end for whatever to get you to watch longer. But I just wanted to give you some context first and tell you the story as it happened and let it reveal itself to you guys in the same way it did to me. So, so stay tuned to the end. Okay, so this process is an epic journey, right? Like there is challenges with, where's the routing? How much wire do we have to buy? What are we gonna have to install to get the three-phase going? And each step I keep inching forward, and trying to figure it out and trying to figure out the best way to go. And since the last video, we actually had a lot of progress. So let me give you a little context before, and then I'm gonna do a walkthrough with you and show you where it's at the moment. So as we walk over here, I have had the city out, and that was a couple of the officials, including the electrical inspector. So yeah, because I need to get this right on the first go. So anyway, if you recall from the previous video, we were talking about all of this conduit, where the power, how it was getting to the elevator shaft, how it was getting up, all of that stuff. And we were looking at all of these possible ways that the power could have originally been run. And there were 3 boxes on the wall, and we've removed them. This one was basically just an empty box, and then there was a something with a lever on it, a pull-down lever that went there. And we had this gigantic box over here. And this is where the 3-phase came into the building. 1, 2, 3, and I guess that's neutral or ground, sorry. And this is like a solid 600 amp service. So forgive me if I say something wrong. I'm not an electrician. I don't know. I just try to gather as much as I can when the guys come, and I overhear them talking. I eavesdrop on them and try to learn what I can. But anyway, those boxes are off. This was the gigantic original disconnect. So there's a bunch of that copper in there, and then it basically passes through this wall and goes up and then out to the transformer. So first of all, what I'm going to do is show you the current state of how everything is wired. Then I'm going to tell you about what Amron said and the information that we've been able to gather in the meantime. And then I'm going to drop the bomb on you with the twist ending. So they say that this building provides. This is the most epic example of this building providing that you can imagine. Can you guess what it is? All right. Okay. Anyway, so basically we've got this wire here, and it is 6-gauge copper wire. And the only reason I'm showing, this is not the wire that concerns us. It's very old. The electrical inspector said that it's 6-gauge. It says it's UV rated. It's old, but it's not that extremely old stuff. So there's not a problem with that. The good thing is, what we're going to be talking about today is actually even newer than that. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. But if you'll notice over here, okay. This is 1-inch conduit with a junction box. And this is what we need for all routing, for all of the electric that goes to the elevator. It's really good stuff. It's fairly new. It's got all the compression connectors and all of that stuff. And it's modern. So this building has been rewired so many times in the past. And basically the reason it's so confusing is that they would rewire something but not pull the old stuff out. So when you look up at it, it's like, what the heck is going on here? But remember this particular piece of conduit right here, because what we're thinking is that to come down, and then under the windowsills, we'll just run along this wall to whatever panels or whatever that the engineers say that we need, and the city says that we need. So back to that piece of conduit that's hanging out. Let's go up on the second floor. Okay, so if you look up beside that box right there, that little thing right there, I guess is called an LB. I'm having trouble focusing. I need a new camera. I need to finally break down and buy an actual camera instead of using my phone. That's where it enters the elevator shaft, and then there's conduit that run basically all the way up to the penthouse or the machine room. And up there is a 60 amp fused disconnect. I think I got that right. So the motor draws less than 60 amps. In this video, I'm going to go up there and see if I can find on the plate additional information about what's going on with it. So anyway, look how it comes out of the wall there, goes up into that box right there, comes, let's see here. Yeah, right there, all along that joist, hops up, goes over that beam there, and comes down here in front of this ladder. I've got this ladder set up because there's something I need to show you guys up there. And then takes a 90-degree turn and goes all the way down the hallway to where it drops through the floor, to that piece of conduit that I showed you. So look at that. That is really quality kind of modern conduit. So that is pretty amazing. All of this is routing that's in situation. I didn't like put it up. It's been here since before I bought the building. So that was a gigantic surprise that is going on for me. So we do have a local electrician, and he goes by the name of Sparky. And this is not a sponsored video, but he has been so helpful and so generous, and he and his wife watch the channel. And shout out to them. I want to give him a little plug here. Where is your on the back, you said? That's awesome. Clown for hire. That's pretty cool. So, in spite of that, he doesn't clown around. So, yeah. So the amount of work that was required to pop into that little box was so minimal. It was incredible. All of this stuff was ready to go. Let me. This isn't even the twist for the end, by the way. But let me go up and show you what's really exciting about this. Look at that. That is very much newer wire. And it is, I mean, that's newer than the stuff I showed you downstairs. Way newer. So it's really, really good stuff. It's super heavy. I think it's 6 gauge, and basically it comes out of that LB down there, comes to this 90-degree, and runs the entire length, pretty much, of the building. Something that's really interesting is that I found out all of these 1-inch basically have, there's 3-phase going everywhere in the building. It's all over the place. And I am not gonna touch it. I'm gonna, leave it perfectly protected where it's at in situation, because who knows what could be needed in the future. In a case like this, not only is it here, not only is it available, it runs basically exactly to the elevator. That being said, it was not originally the wire that went to the elevator. There's just so much of it. Wherever you need to go, you can find a route basically wherever you need to go. So, yeah. And that wire doesn't go anywhere. So it's not tied in. It's not tied into anything. It's basically an unbroken run that goes all the way down here. So I look at this floor here and see all that junk in the way. But if you saw this place when we started, oh my gosh, could just barely squeeze through here. I have come to terms with the fact that I'm going to need help, though. I am going to hire some people. It's just a matter of time. But I've been so preoccupied with all this stuff because I need to get everything good so that Neil can help me with the elevator in April, May-ish. So here's some more of the kind of newer 6-gauge wire that's here. It just is everywhere, basically. So basically that wire that I showed you a little while ago comes all the way to that box right there. There's an open box, and you can see it's got more of that, 3 more strands of that 6-gauge that just goes all the way down. So anyway, it comes to that box and comes to that box there. So, and then this is the vertical that dropped out on the first floor that I showed you. So we're basically all the way to where service comes into the building. And that brings you up to speed on everything that happened in the lead up to where the city came and where Ameren came. So I was thinking about kind of telling you what's going on by going outside. But I know for a fact if I go out there, wind is going to be in the microphone, so it's not going to be very good for filming. But there is the place where the service comes from. And Neil, if you're watching this and I get what I'm about to say wrong, please forgive me. What we wanted was 480, 227 or something like that, 277 service, 3-phase service to the building with something is called a Y service, which offers a neutral. And I think, and this is me maybe showing you how much I don't know, I think it was okay, never mind. I'm not even gonna try. But it had to have Y service, which allowed for a neutral, and that was gonna be the optimal scenario for Neil to hook up the elevator. So when the city came out, what we're hoping for is to find out if we could get that 480 in, get it in Y configuration, and we needed to know what were the components that were going to be necessary. I'm going to turn the camera around just to give you guys something to look at, because it's going to take a little bit to explain this. The city came out and they were talking about different projects that they had done recently, and they said that the components you're going to need are going to be like 10 grand per component, and they're going to be a year out to even be able to source them, and that they were not opposed, but good luck with getting that up to a place where they were going to be happy with it. So, I was going into the meeting with Ameren a little bit discouraged, and Ameren came out and they said, first of all, it doesn't have to be copper wire, it can be aluminum, which really didn't affect me because, as I mentioned before and showed you before, we have all the copper 6-gauge wire everywhere in the building. So And maybe at that point they were only talking about the service, not what actually runs around the building anyway. But yeah, so the first thing that we found out was that the configuration 480 was not going to be possible because at least as it stands right now. So they said that at the moment there's 120 or 110 three-phase. And it was possible to change it, but we would have to pay the labor for them to switch the configuration, and new wires would have to be run to the building. So the existing service wouldn't be able to be used. And probably we were going to have to cut up the road and bring it in underground. So, but he wasn't sure about that part, but that's what he said he thought was going to have to happen. And it was going to be a lot of expense. So then I was a little bit more, as you can imagine, depressed, discouraged. So, yeah, that was that. And then Sparky from Sparky's Electric went to find out what the components that we were going to need. So basically what we needed was a new meter loop. We needed that meter loop to have a bypass, which basically means they can shut it off, the meter, and pull it out without interrupting the service for whatever reason that is, and then put it back in, and then push the arm back up, and service continues on without breaking service to the building. So we needed that. And then we needed an external disconnect, an internal disconnect. We needed a fuse panel, all of this three-phase, which, you know, jacks up the price. And then we needed a couple 200 amp boxes or whatever to route in different places, if we could get that 480 service going. So, you know, wasn't looking very good. And I was really sad because I was still going to do it, but I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And yeah, so, but there was this one last question. And if Neil hadn't asked me about it, we never would have known. We would have found too late because the twist is coming up. So we asked the Ameren technician to find out if it's Delta service or Y, because Neil wanted the Y service. And he said, okay. And he called another technician. And the other technician came by to look at it. And apparently, he came over and said this. Are you guys ready for the big twist at the end? Here it comes. So the other technician comes over and goes, well, why are you guys putting that three-phase in there? And the technician we were talking to and Sparky were there, and well, because we want to get this elevator running, and because we need it for that, maybe some tools, who knows if fire suppression is going to be here, whatever. We need that three-phase. And he's like, kind of reminds me of, remember that movie in Sling Blade where the guys are trying to figure out how the lawnmower works, and they're all trying to figure it out, and Billy Bob Thornton's character says, ain't no gas in it. Mm-hmm. Ain't no gas in it. And that's not how this Ameren technician talks, obviously. But when we said why we wanted to hook up the three-phase, he's like, why don't you just use the, and this is kind of embarrassing, why don't you use the three-phase up front? We're like, what? He's like, that front service that you're running your current electricity on, because I have lights in here, and, you know, I have a temporary socket set. He's like, that's three-phase. We're like, what? Let me tell you something. That three-phase is on the first floor. I gotta see if I can squeeze in here. It's right there. The meter is three-phase downstairs. The meter loop. All up to exactly the specifications they want. The fuse box inside, all of the equipment is exactly what they want. Already installed. Can you believe that? This whole time I thought I just had like regular 110 service to the building. And guess what else? So that's right here, right on the other side of this window is where it comes in. Goes down to the meter on the first floor. That's the elevator right there. 40 feet. 40 feet away, and maybe 8 feet down to exactly what we need. Well, not exactly. So, okay, that's the giant twist. So if that's what you've been waiting for, I just have a little more information. But this building provides, it's like becoming a catchphrase for the channel. It definitely provides. And it provides in redundancy, because all of that wire all the way down is a perfect solution. This is an even better solution because it's already installed. All the equipment is there. So when Sparky came back with the list of equipment that we needed, when we thought it was down there, it was around $6,000. $6,000. So now it's a $140 permit for the city to do some electrical work, and just a couple of the things that you put into the slots where the fuses go to route it in different directions, depending on what you want to do. So we're talking about a few $100s, plus labor for Sparky, or, you know, however that works out. So incredible. And it would be absolutely perfect, except for one thing. It is not the two. So the weird thing is, the service that comes in is 3-phase. It's 120. So 120, 120, and the third phase is 208, I think. And I think it's not Y-phase. So there I don't know how that's going to affect Neil with his work, but we have 3-phase. We have it to the elevator. It is resolved. Can you believe that? Yeah. So unless we get some news from Neil that says that's not going to work, but I have a feeling we'll be able to figure it out. There's something else I wanted to show you guys real quick. So like I said, everywhere you go and all this conduit is that everything that's 1 inch has 3 heavy strands of 6-gauge copper wire. And above every box is a transformer. And I think I've showed that before. So that can add a neutral to 3-phase, and that can also switch it to 110, so that you can run off of 3-phase throughout your whole building, or you can get a neutral here, or you can have regular service for lights and stuff. So there's about 30 of those in the building. So the good thing is that we're at a place where we have the service. There are some options, and we're moving forward, and it's only a few $100, you know, less than $1,000 for sure. So, okay. So I'm going to end that. I'm going to end the video on a positive note. So this building provides. It definitely does.